Hi Superstar, welcome back to How to Market Your Retreat Part 2, 5 strategies to find prospects without funnels or paid ads. First, I'm going to address some of the problems and challenges with filling a retreat in the short term. And then I'm going to tell you my fundamental belief about filling retreats, which I hope will be a game changer for you. And then finally, I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can get started right away to fill your retreat. Let's go. You can't host a retreat if no one shows up. So you want to fill it, I know. And I know the feeling, the stress that can happen when you're trying to put people in that room and you're thinking, what if nobody comes? Or what if I only have 3 people? I've experienced that myself. And I've also witnessed dozens of clients going through that same process. So I want to ease your mind and give you some ways to feel empowered around filling your retreat. And by the way, I understand that you don't want to spend a ton of money to fill the retreat either. And maybe that your retreat itself is going to cost money, maybe not so much, especially if you're watching my videos and I teach you how to make them more profitable. So I know the feeling of not wanting to overexert yourself, overextend yourself financially in order to make this dream happen. Now, let's talk a little bit about time frames before we get into this. I recommend about a 90-day window from when you start promoting your retreat to when you actually execute it. Now, of course, you can have a longer window, but the problem with that sometimes is that people aren't necessarily as eager to make a commitment to do one of these things so far out. I found that a 90-day window is a really good amount of time for promoting, especially when you're just getting started. And another thing that I recommend is to stick with your date. Now, I know that there are scenarios where you're wanting to maybe move it back or change the date, and that's fine, and I've certainly done that myself. And I recommend starting to build the muscle of setting the date and sticking to it and giving yourself that deadline in order to make it happen. And if you only have 3 people, to go ahead and deliver it with 3 people if that's financially feasible for you. Now, by the way, I filled my first retreat in 45 days. And my scenario was I had quite a large network of people that I was connected to, that I had built relationships with over the years through chambers, through BNI, through workshops, through the Women's Success Summit that I created. So I had a lot of avenues through which to promote my retreat and do the outreach that I'm going to share with you in a minute. So that's why I was able to do it in 45 days. But if I didn't have all of that, I would have given myself a longer window. So I'm guessing that you want to fill your retreat. You don't want to spend a ton of money doing it. So my best advice is to leverage the assets you already have. Leverage the relationships you already have, the people that you already know. The question I have for you is, who do you have access to right now? So everything that I'm going to focus on in this video is really about leveraging what you already have and who you already know. By the way, before I get into these 5 strategies, I do want to invite you to take a moment, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and maybe even post a comment below about your retreat marketing strategies. So the first strategy I like is what I call the dream list. Your dream list is a list of, I usually say start with 25 and maybe work your way up to 50 if you've got it, or even 100. Your dream list is the people that you would love to see in that room. The people that you already know would be a great fit, would get so much value out of it, would provide so much value, would contribute to the experience. Go ahead and write that list down. And I know this is going to sound a little woo-woo, but you know me, I'm a little woo-woo. And then I would meditate on this list. I would really hold the intention of these people, the right fit people, saying yes. So get that list together and then start reaching out. Now, here's a couple ways to get this list together, a few ideas. First thing is scour your phone, look through your contact lists, and also maybe go through your text messages, just scroll through your emails and just see what names pop out at you. What I do, because I have 15-year business and most of that business is sitting in my calendar, I scroll through my calendar. I can even do a search in my Google Calendar for strategy sessions. So I can go look up strategy sessions that I did 4, 5, 6 years ago and reach out to people. Also going through your Facebook friends, going through your LinkedIn, and basically pulling this list together somewhere else. And the reason for that is rather than having it scattered all over, reaching out on Facebook, reaching out on LinkedIn, having the list in one place, and ideally what I recommend is reaching out by text message or even by just picking up the phone. And we're going to get into that in number 2 in a moment. But before I do, other ideas for where you might find people is your alumni associations, your associations that you're a member of, chambers that you are or have been a member of, chamber directories. There are lots of different ways to go about pulling together this list. Number 2 is, I'm going to use a term coined by one of my mentors, Mark LeBlanc, Stormstarters. Stormstarters are calls, outreach calls to people. I think he calls them Stormstarters because they start a storm of opportunities. But basically reaching back into your past and finding these people, talking to them, and reaching out to them by phone. Now, I do Stormstarters by phone, and I also do them by text. I absolutely do not recommend doing Stormstarters by email. And I'm going to read you some language that I often use, or something like this, to give you a sense of the tone of the message. Now, here's the important thing about Stormstarters. They're not sales calls. They're connection calls. And that's a really important distinction. Because if you start reaching out to your entire past list of people, all your old friends, and you start trying to sell them, that's the last time that they'll pick up your call, many of them at least. So what you want to do is consider these more like, let me write this over here, connection calls. And what they do is they show you if there's an opening for a sales call, for an enrollment conversation about your retreat. So what mine sounds like, something like this. Hey, so-and-so, I'm thinking of you. I've got something new that I'm creating, and I'd love to share it with you if you're open. Are you available sometime in the next week or 2 to connect? Something like that. It's casual, it's easy, it opens the door to connection, but it's not trying to sell anything yet. The third strategy is a very specific type of social media post. So I'm going to write social inquiry post. And what I mean by a social inquiry post is it's instead of a post where you're trying to promote something, you say, hey, I've got this new retreat I'm doing, who's interested, which usually falls very flat on most social media. Instead, you're posting an inquiry about the outcome and the promise of your retreat to see who might be interested. There's a famous line in one of Pitbull's songs. If you know me, you know that I'm a big Pitbull fan. And the line is, ask for money and get advice. Ask for advice and get money twice. And he's very, very astute. And that's what happens when you post an inquiry seeking information and ideas and input. People are much more likely to engage with you than with a promotional post. So a post like this could sound something like, hey, I'm designing a special retreat, or I'm designing a special experience for this audience to generate this result for this reason. I'm curious how you would go about that, or I'm curious what ideas you have, or how would you name this retreat, or does anybody have ideas? So just getting the ideas out there and getting people to respond and engage. What naturally happens is that people often raise their hand and say, oh, I'm interested in something like this. I would love to come to something like this. Can you let me know when you actually launch this thing? So you ask for this advice and people automatically self-select in. And the reason that works is that you're not just posting, hey, I have this advice to do, I have this idea to do this retreat. You're saying, here's the outcome of the retreat that I'm creating. So you're sharing with them the core value proposition of the retreat. You're going to get this outcome, or another way to call this would be the promise of the retreat. So for example, if I were doing this, it might sound something like, hey, business friends, or hey, superstar business friends, I'm thinking about creating a 3-day immersive experience so people can come in and map out their entire business model in 3 days. I'm thinking about calling it the Superstar Business Breakthrough Retreat. Do you have any other better names for it? And I'm probably thinking about doing this in September, right? So now I've put it out there, I've said what this is, and people might be like, oh, I want to spend 3 days with other cool entrepreneurs putting together my business plan. The fourth strategy is partnership. Basically, it's saying, of all these people that I've identified, do any of them have the audience that I want that could help connect me with that audience? So partnership can take on a variety of forms. It can look like an affiliate relationship where you actually pay them a fee for anybody they bring to you. It might look like a referral partnership where they just refer you the business out of the kindness of their heart. Maybe you can refer some business back to them. It might look like them, co-hosting a webinar with you, putting you on their social media, interviewing you on their Facebook Live. It can go a lot of different ways, but what I would do is look at the people that have the audience that you want, and then look at what channels they're using to promote and what you can hop onto, and then do the same outreach that you're doing everywhere else, but with a slightly different focus. And then finally, a strategy you might want to consider is a bring a friend strategy. This has pros and cons, but a bring a friend strategy could be that for every person that you do enroll from your dream list or from wherever into your retreat, that you offer them a special opportunity to bring someone. Now, that's a great way to kind of quickly multiply the people that come, and it's also a great way to get not so qualified people in the room. So you just want to make sure that you create the caveat or you create the process such that you can really filter out if someone is not a right fit for your retreat. Because if you've watched my videos, you know that one bad apple in a retreat can really spoil the whole bunch. I hope that this video was beneficial for you. I hope it helps you fill that retreat. I'd love to support you in that. If you're someone who's already successful in your business and you're looking to add retreats to the mix and do it successfully and profitably and joyfully, then let's connect. You can find me at superstaractivator.com/go.